I invite you to close your eyes, and it's a nice opportunity to look and experience what are the habits in our mind. Where does the mind automatically go to? Like, what are the tendencies of the mind? It's kind of like a spring cleaning. For instance, if we look in our house in the closets in the garage and open up the closet and garage, we see what has been accumulating over the time. And when we close our eyes, it's a good opportunity to see what kind of habits have been accumulating. That ways of thinking, ways of reacting that we've have habitually just automatically reacted and maybe not even been paying attention to it and not noticing the effects of these kinds of reaction on our own emotional state, physical state. And this is like a spring cleaning of the mind. It's very, very helpful. So for instance, an example, if we've been perhaps, this is just an example, an option being grumpy or fault finding, but maybe being so used to that tendency because we're always in it. And it's only when we close our eyes and turn that flashlight inwards and start to notice that we may be fault finding at our own mind. Because wherever, even if we would be, let's say, in a perfect environment, we bring our mind with us. So if you'd be in a beautiful beach, drinking coconuts under the shades of a palm tree, and let's say some beautiful blue, wonderful resort where a butler brings you another coconut, whatever mind states and habits we have, we would bring it with us. And then we'd start complaining about the temperature of the coconut or the shade or the waves. We're bringing whatever mind state with us. But when we close our eyes, we don't have the outside world to distract us. So the object of our complaining or grumpiness or whatever or wanting isn't on the outside world, but we'll start having that attitude on whatever's inside our mind. And rather than just blindly believing, for instance, if a mental attitude could be, oh, it's too this, or oh, it's too that, or I don't like that. Rather than believing the story, we're turning the flashlight right into the story itself and recognizing it's just a habit. And the powerful perception and attitude of it's just conditioned, it's not mine. It's just a conditioned habit. It's impermanent, right? Because sometimes we don't have that habit pattern. And when we don't have that habit, we're much more free. Like, how does it feel like without that type of thinking? It's all free. And then the mind doesn't pick up what's shitty. It won't pick that up and hold on to it dearly once we recognize that what we're holding on to is shitty and just making us feel tense. So the mind automatically lets go. In a nutshell, that's the whole practice. And eventually the mind just keeps letting go, opening up. So when we close our eyes, we can look at it as an opportunity to notice, get to know our habits, our mind states, and with kindfulness, with kindness, allowing them to be and recognizing it for what it is. Just conditioned, impermanent rubbish that we don't need to hold on to. And valuing more a sense of peace and contentment. This process happens also more, or one efficient way of going through this process is by giving something for the mind to be aware of. So in the beginning, it's present moment, whatever's happening now. If the birds grab your attention, you can notice the birds. They're quite relaxing. Studies show that having birds in the background has a good effect on the nervous system, allows you to feel more relaxed. This also scenery of being in a spacious nature that is also quite relaxing. And bringing up a sense of safety, that we're safe, we're in a very safe place with people that are supportive and doing something very wonderful. And noticing that quality of mind when we feel safe, secure, it gives a warmth to the heart. And this is something that is useful to cultivate, to allow in. It's a beautiful flower in our garden that we allow to be. We can notice the general state of our body. You can notice maybe if you've rushed to get here, your heart may be beating a little bit faster, whatever it is, you allow it to be. And just as an experiment, you can try in the beginning doing some smooth rhythmic breathing if you'd like as an experiment. And notice the effect it has on your body and mind. So you can do smooth inhalations, smooth exhalations. There's tons of research of different types of breathing patterns. So do whatever you normally do, or just smooth inhalation and exhalation. And deciding that during this period of time, we're developing and cultivating the mind. So we won't just be into daydreaming and mind wandering, because that's normally our default state. And this is a way of going against, where if we want different results in our mind, different inner home, there needs to be some sort of skillful effort. And the effort isn't more of a doing, using the mind. It's just an effort more of restraint, saying, no, I'm not going to go there. But the restraint isn't like a twitching. It's more of a wisdom. It's, no, I won't go there. Like kids, they play with toys, but as adults, we don't play with the toys. Or maybe music. We don't listen to the music we used to as teens because we have value elsewhere. So in the same way, by deliberately noticing the beauty, the relief, the contentment in a quiet mind, the sense of spaciousness, the what a relief, peace, by valuing that, recognizing the worth of that, then the mind doesn't go there, doesn't go to what he said, she said, worries or plans and that. We have the choice. And it's being alert, mindful, in not picking up the past and future, recognizing it's not worthy of picking it up. We have the opportunity to dwell in contentment and peace. And the brain changes. It becomes easier and easier. But we need to consciously abide in these states. And then it becomes easier and easier, and the mind goes there by itself because it recognizes. It won't pick up, pardon my language, shit. So spending some moments and recognizing the spaciousness and the beauty of inner silence, contentment, softness of the heart, and this sense of ease and peace. Now these conditions or textures of mind are very subtle and delicate, and sometimes the mind can easily go back to memories or thoughts. So it's easier, and it's very common practice to have something a little bit more tangible, something physical to be aware of. It's often very helpful to start with a body scan and then being aware of the breathing, which is going towards more and more simplicity, less and less stuff to be aware of. So we're going to more and more minimal states of mind, like less stuff in the mind. And the more simple it becomes, the less agitation and objects, stuff in the mind, whether it's emotions and thoughts, memories, the more freer it feels. We're letting go of interest in the five senses and dwelling more in simplicity. And this process becomes easier Notice I perhaps stopped mid-sentence, and maybe the mind was silent during that time because it was attentive, not knowing what I'll say next. In that same way, you can have that interest and silence in your mind, an interest into the nature of the mind when there's no stuff. So a good tool is we can scan attention of the body. It keeps it focused so we know what we're aware of. and allows the mind to settle. It's a tool. Being aware of the sensations in the toes, like brushing your teeth. We just do it. Notice your toes. How do they feel? Being really aware of just the sensations in the toes, but holding it gently, like holding a delicate bird in the hands. Not too tight, but not too loose. Just being aware of the toes. And in the background, we have that sense of ease. And that's our compass. That's like our north. We need to maintain that sense of ease and peace. Because if we notice it's getting tight, we're just crushing the bird. And if we notice there's more and more ease, less tension in the mind, a sense of more relief, then we're going in the right direction of letting go, release. And being aware of the ball of the foot. Noticing the sensations are different than the toes. Being aware under the arch. How does it feel under the arch and the heels? And being aware of the ankles. Noticing the ankles and the calves. Being aware of the knees. Notice the sensations in the knees. And the thighs. Remembering this precious time and being diligent and not allowing the mind to indulge in restlessness, like just mind wandering. Find meaning and joy in stillness. We're changing what we value, what we delight in. If we delight in thinking, that's just what will have happened for the rest of our lives, is thinking, thinking, thinking. And if we have this idea of rebirth, it'll just happen again, because we're creating like the stages, the where we'll get reborn, if you have that idea or that possibility. But even in the future lives, if we delight in thinking, that's just how our life will be. So we delight in more stability of mind so that our inner home can be clean, spacious. And then when we go to work or need to solve problems, with a clean desk, the solutions will come up more obviously than when it's cluttered. So delight in a clean, empty, spacious mind. So that could be the default of our inner home. Don't let magically our inner home get messy. We're like a gatekeeper to our garage, and there's people walking up with rubbish wanting to put stuff in, and we're like, nope. And that gatekeeper needs to be there, because if we're not mindful, we're not present, then through habit, automatically, the rubbish and junk will start to fill up our garage. That's why we need that gatekeeper in our mind. And we need to enjoy that sense of stillness. So going up the calves, the knees, the thighs, I meant the thighs. And noticing the sensations, your bum against the seat. Maybe the seat is a bit hard or it's soft. Just noticing it and noticing the hips and the tummy. And going up the spine, the shoulders, noticing how the shoulders are, the arms, elbows, the wrists and hands. And awareness of the body will be very, very subtle. As the mind gets still, it's like the space of the mind becomes more prominent. Noticing the jaw, around the eyes, making sure everything in the face is relaxed. The forehead, allowing all the muscles to soften, release. Pretend even the brain, things just stop moving. Neurons stop firing. There's just stillness. And taste that freedom of stillness. You may notice your breathing. If the mind is still, that's what's there, the breathing. And you're just knowing the breathing in, knowing the breathing out. Remember, it's mindfulness along with the breathing. Like you're side by side, holding hands gently with the breathing. Like a gentle bird. You're not squeezing it, but you're not elsewhere. You're laying back, looking on, and you're just knowing if you're breathing in and knowing you're breathing out. Being interested, how does that knowing come up for you? Be with that knowing of breathing. And it comes up differently for everyone. And when the mind becomes more and more still, that knowing will appear more delightful. It's just through stillness, like a flower opening up all by itself because the sun is shining and it's protected. We don't peel back the flower. We allow it to open like fruit. I mentioned last week what came up. What I found very helpful is in the early texts of the Buddha's teachings, he always said the mind ripens in letting go. It's not something the self does. We just put in the causes, present moment awareness, silence, stillness, and the mind ripens in letting go. The opening up, the release, the taste of freedom becoming more profound. It's all ripening. No one does the ripening. There's no self there. It all happens when we allow the sense of self, the ego, to slowly fade away and vanish. And being aware of the breathing is like a tool. It's just giving something for the mind to be aware of, something simple, something that's happening now, something soothing. And that simplicity allows the mind to stay present and allows the mind to turn itself off, because the self is not needed in mindfulness of breathing. Just knowing the breathing going in, knowing the breathing going out. Recognizing any sense of relief, this lightness of mind. Allowing yourself to abide, hang out. if the mind is going back to thinking, you can replace the many thoughts with just one word, such as breathing in peace, breathing out relax. Because you need to keep that awakeness, alertness, that knowing, that mindfulness present of knowing what the mind is, and we're inclining towards more simplicity. Simplicity is allowing that ego to turn off, because there's less of a gap between what the mind predicts there is and something obviously happening in the senses. So the sense of self is not needed. And we need to keep aware of this process. Also, to rewire the brain, we need to still be aware of what's happening. So being aware of either breathing in, you're still aware of the knowing of breathing, but you can have perhaps the word breathing in peace, for example, or breathing out relax, or counting to 10 and then back to 1. That may allow a little bit more alertness, because you need to keep track of where you are. So breathing in 1, breathing out 1. But keep that awareness on the breathing, the knowing if you're breathing in or out. And the words are to replace any wandering mind. So breathing in 1, breathing out 1, breathing in 2, breathing out 2. All the way to 10 and then back to 1 again. And you'll notice through this awareness, mindfulness, and simplicity, the texture and quality of mind by itself ripens, becomes more profound, content, clear. But this happens all by itself. Sometimes if you've had a very busy week and you're exhausted, there's like a little bit of sleepiness that comes in, and then it goes back up. Like in the stock markets, there's a little correction and then it keeps going. That may happen if you've used the mind a lot and it's just exhausted. Never fight it, just let it be. It needs its time to just do what it needs to do, and then the energies will start coming back all by itself. Being aware of this process. Breathing in 1, breathing out 1. Noticing so far these qualities of mind, perhaps stability, ease, taking notes so when we go into an empty garage, we could notice certain aspects of it. Like we notice, oh, what a relief when we clean the house, or if the house gets clean. We don't notice perhaps, oh, the color of the floor. We could notice those aspects of relief, spaciousness, because it's empty of clutter. These are like emptiness perceptions, and we had a few period of time we were practicing the emptiness perceptions, that empty of clutter, empty of stuff. Noticing those aspects of emptiness. It's empty of selfing. We're not cluttering up the mind with I-making, like me, myself, and I, and my thoughts. And we notice the value in that. We can notice the clarity, right? The mind is more clear and balanced. It's not weighed down or scattered. And it has a sense of ease to it, like just that texture also, that taste of freedom. There's less of that nagging discontent of life. There's more, it goes towards more freedom, because we're letting go. Well, not we are letting go, but the mind just ripens in letting go, opens up, drops burdens, and everything's a burden. But stage, layer by layer, our inner flower opens up. Noticing these aspects helps the mind be still. And one other hack, perhaps, that we spend some time is cultivating these heart-based practices, because that actually puts the whole mind-body system in a sense of safety, friendliness, and it allows more stillness, deeper stillness of mind. So testing it out yourself like a scientist, just see what happens if we deliberately choose now to cultivate this heartwarming intention of friendliness, like well-wishing for all beings, and spreading this friendliness because we're feeling safe, that everything's okay, in all directions, including ourselves, like a warm sunshine, spreading it to the birds all around, sideways, back, down below, all around like a radiant sunshine. And noticing the quality and texture of mind when we're filled with a sense of friendliness. Because the mind can't at the same time be worried about past or future and mind wandering and be generally friendly and open-hearted to all beings. Just radiate it out in all directions. And it's not like we're doing the radiating out. Our heart is radiating out, and we're just opening up the curtains and allowing it to go however far it wants to go. It doesn't matter. It's not our job. We're just opening up and allowing this heart and mind imbued, soaked and drenched and just abiding in this well-wishing, this friendliness. And as an experiment now, with the mind abiding, hanging out in this, notice how that stability makes it easier to just be aware of the breathing. And notice how being aware of the breathing with that softness in the face, that relaxation, looking on, allows the mind to sink deeper in stillness. Noticing, how does it feel coming close to the end of the meditation? That aspects of stability, clarity, ease, freedom, contentment. Let the mind savor the beauty of our inner home. When the mind appreciates and savors these aspects, it's just natural, just part of nature. It'll be less likely to fill it with inner chatter or worries or whatever, because it's aware and values. And notice even though